AITA for telling my friend her free wedding is actually just making the rest of us pay for it? I'm 24F and part of a friend group that's been close since college. One of us, let's call her Coral, 23F, just got engaged a few weeks ago. She's always been kind of the baby of our group. She graduated a year later than the rest of us. She has this bubbly, dreamy personality, and we all usually indulge her because she's sweet and excitable. When she announced her engagement, everyone was thrilled. Honestly, seeing her so happy made me happy. But then last weekend, we all met up for brunch, and Coral started sharing the details of her wedding plans. That's where everything went sideways. She sat down with this huge grin on her face and said, "So, guys, we've decided. We're going to have a free wedding." At first, I thought she meant something simple, like a courthouse ceremony or an elopement. Totally fine. But then she started explaining. She'd been inspired by TikToks and Instagram reels showing couples pulling off weddings without spending a cent. The way she described it, she and her fiancé weren't planning to pay for anything except maybe the marriage license. Her plan? Find someone with a big outdoor space, maybe a farm or a backyard, that they could donate in the name of love. Then have every guest bring a potluck dish, but not just whatever they wanted. She already had assignments in mind, like you bring pasta, you bring meat, you bring dessert. Friends would be the officiant, the photographers, the invitation designers. Family members would do the flowers. And then she turned to me with a huge smile and said, "And you can make the cake." She pulled out her phone and showed me inspiration pictures. Multi-tiered masterpieces with fondant flowers, gold leaf, hand-painted watercolor designs. These weren't homemade cakes. They were professional magazine cover cakes. I kind of laughed nervously and said, Coral, I'm not a professional baker. I can make cookies or brownies for a bake sale. Sure, but these cakes would take days, and even then, they wouldn't look like this." She brushed it off with a laugh. "It doesn't have to be perfect. It'll be fun. Everyone will pitch in." But the more she explained, the more uneasy I felt. She wanted tents, decorations, wedding favors, even a band and sound system, all donated, borrowed, or made by friends. And here's the thing. Coral and her fiancé aren't struggling financially. She works as an accountant at a big company. He's in software sales. His parents are wealthy. They could absolutely afford a modest wedding if they wanted. This wasn't about necessity. It was about the aesthetic of a $0 wedding. Finally, I couldn't bite my tongue. I said, "Coral, this isn't really free. You're just shifting all the costs onto everyone else. People are still paying with time, money, and effort. It's just not you. If you want a free wedding, you should probably elope or do City Hall. What you're describing is like a giant group project none of us signed up for. We already graduated. We don't need the extra credit." The whole table went silent. Coral's smile vanished. She just stared at me for a moment, then quietly gathered her things and left. Another friend drove her home. That night, one of our friends texted me saying, "You really hurt Coral's feelings. Even if her plans were a little unrealistic, you should have let her come to that conclusion herself." A couple hours later, Coral herself messaged me, "Sorry, don't worry about the cake. Nothing else." And now I feel awful. Coral has never been mean to me. She's genuinely kind, just a little naive. Maybe I was too blunt. Part of me thinks I was right to speak up. If I hadn't, I'd be stressing over a 3-tier wedding cake that I'm not qualified to make. And I hate the idea of less well-off friends and family shelling out for assigned potluck dishes while Coral and her fiancé, who can afford much more, sit back enjoying their free wedding. But the other part of me feels guilty. Maybe I could have just said no to the cake without calling out the whole plan. Maybe I stomped on her joy. The group is divided. One friend told me I was too harsh. Another privately messaged me, "Honestly, thank you for saying it." She needed the reality check. My mom told me, "Better you say it now than watch her wedding crash and burn." My sister, though, thinks I could have declined more gently without the lecture. So now I'm stuck wondering. AITA for telling my friend her free wedding is unrealistic, and that she's basically asking everyone else to pay for it? Should I have kept quiet and let her figure it out herself? Update. A lot has happened since I posted. Coral went quiet for a few days, which worried me. Then she sent me a much longer message. She admitted she'd gotten swept up in the TikTok free wedding trend and didn't realize how much she was asking of people. She said my words stung, but now she sees why I said what I did. Apparently, her fiancé had already been skeptical. He told her he didn't like the idea of owing everyone for their wedding. His parents even stepped in and offered to help pay for a small, proper ceremony. Coral and her fiancé are now looking at renting a reasonably priced venue and hiring actual vendors. She also apologized about the cake. She said she honestly thought I'd enjoy the challenge, but she realizes it was unfair to put that pressure on me. I apologized, too, for being blunt and hurting her feelings. I told her I just didn't want her to end up disappointed or burned out when her dream wedding fell apart. We're not completely back to normal yet, but things are thawing. She even joked, "Okay, maybe you can just bring brownies for the dessert table." And honestly, that feels a lot more like us. So maybe it all worked out in the end. But I'm still left wondering, did I cross a line by saying it out loud? Or was it just the tough love reality check she needed?